Okay. And after that comes everyone who makes our work possible, to all of the members of the ABCD Foundation, to our special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, corporate members, and individual members, all of you whom without your generosity we would not be here today. The Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation is in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines. And we are a nonprofit member supported foundation. For those of you who are joining us this morning, once again, it's very nice to see you bright and early. I apologize. I'm calling in actually from from Atok. I'm currently in Atok in Benguet. We're doing a pest and disease survey on the highland vegetables here right now. So please excuse me. I'm calling in from my phone because my computer isn't working properly. Anyway, I will join my colleagues in the field a little bit later after this meeting is over. But in any case, I'm the president of the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation. Welcome to everyone this morning. If you are interested in joining us for our sessions conducted every 2 weeks online, and you'd like to gain access to our wide network of agribusiness and countryside organizations, do consider joining us as I've mentioned. The Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation is a member-supported nonprofit organization. It's only through your generosity and support that we're able to bring you our sessions every 2 weeks. So our links are in the description. Send us an email, introduce yourself, and okay. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Chairman of our Board of Trustees, Ernie, to please introduce our speaker for this morning. Ernie, please go ahead.
Good morning to everyone. It is my great pleasure and honor to introduce to you a very dynamic, active person, Arnel de Mesa. Let me give you a brief background. Well, he graduated from UPLB in 1990s, and soon after took a essential engineering exam and graduated in the top 10 in the country. Soon after that, he joined the government to help our people. And as a matter of fact, in 2019, he got an award. Remember I told you top 10 agriculture engineers? Then outstanding, namely number 1, outstanding alumnus of UPLB where he graduated in rural development and governance, which is right down our mission, right down our alley. We're really honored he's here with us today, a practitioner and someone who is today the spokesperson of the Department of Agriculture, Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa. But you know, it's not as if he came into the top, because he started in the regions and he was the regional technical director. I want to emphasize that technical director, he understands technology. And he did it in Davao as his regional director for technology in Davao in 2019. I'm sorry, as early as 2013 he started. Soon after, he became the regional director of all the different groups in Calabarzon, which is the biggest, most productive area in the Philippines. And so from Davao to Calabarzon, then on to headquarters, where he has become the Assistant Secretary of Department of Agriculture in 2020. So it's my great pleasure to introduce him. However, I'd like to ask Arnel to do a couple of things. First of all, Arnel, thanks to Bernie Yap, who was the wind with data wings for 13 years, actually more than that, every single week she had technology, and Ramon Ilosorio, they both pushed for our foundation, not being a talk group, but someone who, because of our technology, results in action. So I'd like you to tell us in your talk how we can help your advocacy in solar irrigation. We'll talk about the general agriculture situation later on in our non-formal session, which is 9 to 10, but here we'll talk of solar irrigation. So we'd like you to actually give 5 to 10 minutes of your personal experience. In other words, what made you move into agriculture, what made you move to government, and what is your passion, your personal experience. Because after that, we talk to the speakers, we try to bond relationship and work for things that we can agree on here between 9 to 10, 8 to 9 is the formal session. That's given throughout the world to 600 people, thanks to Julius Barcelona and the board. It used to be 35 people online, now it's 600. And usually 80% male, now it's 50-50, etc. And therefore, number one, give us a personal, personal talk about how you got involved in this to inspire us as well. The second thing is we want you to give us your office or cell number, because throughout the world we get it in a couple of weeks. And instead of going through bureaucracy, they go straight to you. So give us your office or personal number, so we know where to reach you, right? So your personal background and where to reach you, because that's the whole thing. We want to reach you, right? And the third thing is to basically, having given us your background and personal number, please emphasize what I mentioned earlier, which is how we can help you. Now, we are not students, we are professionals, and therefore your talk is aimed not so much as educating us, but also guiding us so we can help your advocacy. And we have done this, as a matter of fact, we measure ourselves not in terms of the forums, but in terms of the action from the forums. So it's my pleasure again to introduce Arnel de Mesa. Arnel, take it away with your personal story and your phone number, and then give us your take and how we can help you. Arnel, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you po, Sir Ernie, and good morning, everyone. My apologies if I cannot open my video. Actually, I'm on my way po to Malacanang for an urgent meeting prior to a Senate hearing scheduled at 1 p.m. this afternoon. As requested po
excuse me, Arnel, I will see you there. I've been also asked to go there to talk about this. And I just want to tell the audience that we will relate to them the vision of this foundation, which is rural development. But Arnel, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes po. As requested, Sir Ernie, my contact number for mobile is 0917 508 2455. I'm also using that number for my Viber account. So again, thank you po for having me for this very important discussion led by Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation Incorporated. Sir Ernie, I prepared a PowerPoint presentation. In less than minutes, I can handle this. If you will allow me, I will skip to most parts, but just to give us an idea on where we are. Actually, we have pending projects now on solar irrigation projects. Because I'm also handling together with Yusek Jerome all ODAs and special projects under the Department of Agriculture. So if you will allow me, sir, I have prepared presentation material very quickly just to give us an insight on where we are in these several projects. And this is one excuse me, of the priority projects of the president and the secretary. The other day, they inaugurated one of the biggest solar irrigation project in Isabela. It's a 350 hectare solar irrigation project. This is one of the many upcoming solar irrigation projects that's in the pipeline now, sir. So
before
very
you do
quickly.
that,
Yes,
before you do that, Arnel, can you use 3 to 4 minutes about your personal life? How do you get involved in agriculture? What motivated you to join the government, which you are serving so very well now? Give us 3 to 4 minutes about your personal background.
Sir, straight from graduating from the university and while taking my master's degree, I'm already involved with agriculture on a research capacity. I work with Chancellor David of the University of the Philippines in Los Baños for a big project. It's a shallow tube well irrigation project. I was one of the research engineer. It ran for 5 years. And then it grew up to a bigger project, the Comprehensive Irrigation Research Development Umbrella Program, focusing on a groundwater irrigation project nationwide. Immediately after that, sir, I moved to a private company, Syngenta, as a marketing specialist focusing on rice based in Western Visayas. It's a very short stint, and after that, I was recruited to back to the Department of Agriculture under then Undersecretary Edmond Sana in the operations, and I worked for him for several years. And when there was a problem in one of the big project of the World Bank in Mindanao, the Mindanao Rural Development Project, I was asked by Yusek Edmond to go there and help the project. That was late 1999 or early 2000. And I stayed there for 14 years to help in the implementation of MRDP1, and then it grew up into a big we started only with 5 provinces and 32 municipalities, and then we proposed another bigger project, MRDP2, covering the entire Mindanao. And then yun po sir, I stayed there again for 14 years, and then there was a clamor to implement the project on a nationwide scale. So we proposed the Philippine Rural Development Project. It is one of the longest what do you call this, being implemented now by any government agency. So PRDP is now under scale up. It's being implemented for more than a decade already. So plus MRDP. So it's a very huge undertaking now. And from there, I was asked to lead one of the regional office, the regional field office in Calabarzon for 6 years under the term of President Duterte. I also serve as a assistant director in Davao while working under MRDP and PRDP. And then eventually, Secretary Dar then requested me to handle operations together with Yusek Kayanan. So now with Secretary Chu Laurel Jr., he asked me to be his spokesperson as well as handling all official development assistance and special projects of the department, sir. Thank you.
What a great background. Please proceed, but with that great background, you're really helping the country. We want to help you help the country. So later in your talk, tell us how we can help you. Okay, please, Arnel, go ahead.
Thank you po, sir. So I'll be very quick on this one. Willie, yeah. So this is the, in a nutshell, the Philippine Solar Powered Irrigation Project. This composed of several projects, could be ODAs, could be under the general appropriations, and we want to ensure that we have a uniform application. So I'm an agricultural engineer by profession, so it dwell very much on my background. Next slide, please. So right now, under the NIA administration, we have more than 1 million hectares still to be irrigated. That's potential irrigable area. That's only for rice and some area for corn. But under the high value, we still have 1.5 to 2 million hectares that can still be irrigated. And we see the solar irrigation as one of the most efficient and can easily be constructed, not unlike the national irrigation systems that it can take years. The gestation period for solar irrigation project can take as short as 1 week to as long as 1 month, depending on the area. Next slide, please. So again, this is one of the priority of the secretary in ensuring we can have or we can move in expanding more areas for agriculture for both rice, corn, and other high-value commercial crops. Next slide, please. So I will pass on this again. It's just a small backgrounder on why solar irrigation is very important. As during our last visit in San Juan, one farmer confided to us that he was able to save around 50,000 pesos for his 5 hectare using solar irrigation by shifting to solar irrigation from the usual diesel run engine for his shallow tube well pumps. Next slide. So again, I know you're very familiar from the gains from using PSIP, but I just want to focus on the efficiency of using the system, and the way farmers can easily manage his farms by using small scale irrigation projects, not just solar irrigation projects. The tendency of the farmers, by his managing his irrigation water, he can easily diversify from rice, corn to high value crops, thereby increasing his income. So if you will allow the farmers to easily manage his irrigation water, the farmers can become more productive. Next slide, please. So these are the one of the innovations that we can do with irrigation system. As I mentioned, we can innovate a lot of things, and we can incorporate as well ICT experience on this. Just what we are doing now. We can also ensure that we can monitor. We can incorporate again IT system. So if your group, Sir Ernie, can help us better improve and innovate on these irrigation systems, I guess that's where we need to go. How we can better small scale or national irrigation systems so that we can easily and effectively control irrigation water. So it's all about water management interventions, not just making the water available, not just making the water flow to irrigation systems, to our service areas, but how we can effectively control water, because water is a finite source. By certain years, there could be problems with water, and by using small scale irrigation projects and PSIP, we can efficiently use water. We can also shift to sprinklers and other system to again ensure efficiency and efficacy of our water usage. Next slide, please. So I do not dwell on the major components. So these are relatively, we can see it everywhere. So next slide, please. So these are the samples of what we have done so far. This one is in San Juan. This is about 10 to 15 hectare facility. And what's good about this system now is that in terms of conveyance of water, what we are doing is we are shifting from open canal to pipe irrigation conveyance to again to conserve water and to ensure better distribution of our irrigation water. So hopefully we can do uh, pipe conveyance in all our irrigation system. That's one very good way of conserving and ensuring efficient water usage. Next slide. So this is a video. These are some of the photos, photo documentation. So some areas we use tanks for high value for small irrigation systems, but there are also big systems under this program. Next slide. Just showing some samples. We can also incorporate fertigation systems in this, just like the one in the photo. It's being used in some areas. And we can also, again, as part of conveyance, we can use sprinklers, we can use risers just to ensure better usage of irrigation water. Next slide. Together with Yusek Jerome, we inaugurated some of these projects. And again, we are very happy to see the actual implementation of some of these solar irrigation projects nationwide. Next slide. Really, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, this is very important. I just would like to share that based on the initial analysis of the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, we can see that there are a lot of areas for expansion under the solar irrigation. Right now, we have more than 2.6 million hectares that are highly suitable. Outside pa po ito doon sa mga moderately suitable areas, either open water source or groundwater source. We can see potential irrigable areas under this kind of system. So we can use a small system or big system depending on the aquifer, of course, depending on the dependability of water source. What we are trying to do before we initiate any projects that there should be reliable water source for both the groundwater and open water source. Next slide. This has been mapped out also for both the open water source. Mostly these are river irrigation systems, and for those with reliable water source. Next slide. And then for groundwater source, more than 1 million hectares that could be tapped for this kind of systems. This can still be further validated using resistivity analysis for the different locations. Next slide. Under the solar irrigation projects, we have developed 3 solutions. One is to replace existing shallow tube wells with the solar irrigation system, again, to save on the use of fuel. The second solution is for groundwater source, and solution 3 is for open water source. In some areas, we're doing hybrid combination of groundwater and open water source. And for this system, we don't use batteries. So because it's very expensive, and but if we can have long-lasting batteries and cheaper, then we can tap. But mostly we don't use batteries. That's why there are hybrid still for during daytime, we use solar, and during nighttime, if there's a need for more irrigation water, then they use pumps. Next slide, please. So these are some schematics for the different solutions. This can be shared with the participants. Next slide will show the schematics for other solutions. Next slide. These are the schematics for solution 2 and 3. Next slide. These are the initial locations that we can use solution 2. Next. And these are the areas for the initial installation for solution 3. Next slide. So some of our activities on system construction, capacity development, and project management. Next slide. Next slide. I guess that would be all. Again, Sir Ernie and the rest of our participants, muli po, magandang umaga at maraming salamat po.
All right. So thank you very much, Asset. And yes, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule for this. So we'll open the floor now to questions. So just a few ground rules for the questions. For those who would like to ask questions, please look if you're using a cell phone, at the bottom of your screen, you should see an option that says reactions. It looks like a smiley face with a plus sign on it. And then if you tap that, you'll see that there's a little hand that will appear next to your head in your video, like mine is right now. You see a little hand next to my face. So if you don't see that, you can check if you have sort of the 3 dots that says more, or the 3 horizontal lines that says more if you're on Android. You can tap that, and that should also show you the option for reactions. Tap that, and that will allow you to raise your hand. Failing that, you can type your question in the chat box. Typing your question chat box, and then we'll line you up for your question. Failing all of that, I'll just ask for the audience's help if in case somebody is trying to catch your attention. Please do try to catch your attention, and we'll also acknowledge. Okay, and then for the formal session, let's limit our question. Let's limit ourselves to at least one question, to just one question if possible, so that we can give way to as many people as possible with questions. I'll allow maybe one follow-up if it's relevant to the question that you just asked. Okay, so please, we open the floor to any to your questions now. I see something came up in the chat box from Rene coming to Anne. Rene, you might want to, would you like to just go ahead?
Julius, I saw the message of Sir Rene Pamintuan. He
Okay.
mentioned for Region 12 and for Laguna areas who they can contact to. For easy reference, they can contact our regional field office, either the regional executive director or the regional agricultural engineering division. For Region 4A covering Laguna, it will be Director Fidel Libao or Engineer Romel Reyes. For Region 12, we have a new regional executive director there. And we can also have a new regional agricultural engineering division. So they can easily contact our regional field office. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. I think we have a question from sorry, to Robert. There we go. Robert.
Yep.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi.
Yes.
Morning. Oh, please,
Well,
go ahead.
thank you, Julius, and then thank you, Yusek, and so on. So, well, congratulations. At least that's a good start. Basically, I know the Philippines is really lagging behind because we don't have good irrigation. Unlike Vietnam and Thailand, they have the Mekong River, so that helps them in the rice plantation and so on. My question now is, how much is the system that you are presenting? I suppose you have the panel, solar panel, inverter, and then the pump. Kasi kami, we were appointed by one of the biggest and the most efficient solar system, in the world, no? So we already have one panel at 700 watts. So my question now is, how much is your panel, one panel, and how many watts the inverter and then the pump? The technical details of that, the total package.
Yes, sir. We can share with you our computation, but on the general aspect, we compute on a per hectare basis. Normally, it could range as low as 350,000 per hectare. For NIA systems, they could go as high as 800 to 900,000 per hectare, depending on the additional components of the system. But for basic systems, including only the panels, inverters, pumps, and the pipe conveyance, pipe conveyance systems, of course, it will be different. The costings, if the source is groundwater or open water, because there will be additional cost for drilling and water development. That will take about a minimum 1 week to 2 weeks for well development. So there could be some variations in the cost, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Sec Arnel. But who spends for this? I mean, yan ba binibili ng gobyerno, tapos binibigay sa farmer, or is it co-op? How does it work?
For any government project, it will go under the under the general appropriations po. Yun po yung unang fund source. Under the general appropriations, the budget will either go to the Bureau of Soils and Water Management or the regional field offices. So they will conduct bidding for this. So it's on a per system basis, so meaning kompleto po yun. They will prepare the bidding documents, the instruction to bids, which will tell us on a per system basis magkano po yun, kasama lahat of course ng mga components. And then, of course, any interested bidder can join. And then, yun na po, i-award ang contract. For, depende naman po kung ang source ay ODA, just like what we are preparing, depende po kung bilateral or multilateral. Kung multilateral, it will go under bidding. Kung bilateral, depende po kung anong bansa ang partner namin. And then that country will have its own contractor po.
Yes. And how many
But
systems
they can have local counterparts naman.
Okay. And Sec, how many systems do you need? Like 100 sets, 500 sets?
We are envisioning thousands po kasi yung mga proposal po namin existing now under the general appropriations for this year and next year, ang gusto ni Secretary at least 5 billion worth of projects. And then under ODA, we're working po no mas malalaki pa na mga projects. Right now, yung existing na nasa NEDA po namin is about 17 billion worth of projects.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Good luck to all of us.
Thank you po. Thank you po.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sige. Thanks very much for that, Robert. Okay, other questions po? Perhaps we can hear from some of our, for example, representatives from farmer groups like Cesar Ray Lantin. Baka you have thoughts about solar irrigation po, sir? Yes po, please.
Good morning, Asek Carnel.
Good morning po, Doc Lantin. Kumusta po?
Nice to see you, even in your name only.
Yes,
congratulations for your presentation. I was just wondering about your open source of water for pumping. That there is no mention of water impoundments, impounding the rainwater, which is plenty during the rainy season, but scanty during the dry season. Now, I am talking of the uplands, which you have not mentioned also, and you are DA, it seems, is concentrating on the lowland irrigated rice, which is good because it has high productivity. But I may say, let us not forget those people in the uplands. They are in the what we call laylayan, and their only ambition is to raise food for themselves. In other words, consumption, family consumption. They feel very secure if they have rice in their, balaong we called before. And so is TA concerned also with the production of upland rice? I know former Secretary Manny Piñol, he mentioned his Facebook account that he is promoting upland rice among the indigenous peoples with a target of 500,000 hectares. So that will give easily 2 metric tons per hectare, about 1 million metric tons of palay. And that is a good contribution. That alone is a good contribution to the food security of the nation. The government need not worry of what by importation of the rice that these people will have to eat. So they produce their own food. Now, is there a support, let's say from NIA, to build water impoundments which could be also supported by solar-powered irrigation system, because that will be good for sprinkler irrigation. If the uplands were provided with irrigation system, they could increase the productivity up to 3 tons, comparable with the lowland rice. And there is plenty of land in the uplands. Thank you, Asek. You have to consider that.
Thank you po, Doc Ray Lantin. Tama po yun. Part of our strategy really is to help the upland. And there could be two way. We are doing po yung impoundment, yung sweep small water impounding project. It could be by gravity depending on the location po ng service areas and of course of the dam. And it could be pumped din po using solar irrigation. Mostly our stakeholders po rito are the high value commercial crops natin for upland. But you are right po, there are also potential for upland areas for rice and corn. And kasama naman po ito sa programming natin. So we will be including this po. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sige. Other questions po from the audience? Well, I'm not hearing further questions from the audience. Perhaps if I could ask a little bit, Asek, from the time kasi, of course, solar irrigation really started to gain more traction after then Secretary Manny Bengal started really pushing hard for it dito sa Pilipinas. However, during the time, parang very ambitious po yung solar irrigation project po at the time, and there were some concerns about the capacity po of the irrigation projects. How has the DA I suppose developed its since then dun sa mga technologies with regard to it, like what kind of area before kasi sinasabi po aabot pa sa 100 hectares po yung isang irrigation system, pero we know that as we went along, eventually we discovered yung issues sa making sure na hindi overdrawn yung water table, dun sa actual transportation po ng tubig, and so on and so forth. So how have we developed po? How has the DA developed po yung project so far, and what kind of sort of capacity and specifications are we looking at now that's perhaps based on lessons we've learned from the initial solar irrigation projects?
Thank you, Julius. That's a very good one. We learn a lot of lessons, of course, from the early implementation natin ng mga solar irrigation projects. For one, before yung design talaga ay through gravity, yung pagbaba ng tubig, kailangan pa nating maglagay ng water tank. Normally, ano yun, concrete tanks just to impound the water first before releasing it through gravity. So, of course, we need a lot of investment dun sa water tank. And of course, nasasayang yung what do you call this, yung pressure na na-generate from pumping going to the service area. So one major modification that we made is that we remove the water tank, the concrete water tank, and we moved to pipe water conveyance to conserve yung pressure and to ensure mas maganda yung ating water conveyance and for conservation na rin ng water and for easy management ng water. Kasi if you look, for example, yung ginawa natin sa Lumban at sa San Juan, for a 10 hectare, there were about 17, 20 risers that the farmers can easily open and close for water management niya. At ma-schedule din yung release ng water. So a lot of innovations na yung nagbago kasi. And then secondly, doon sa open water source, kasi noon talagang palaging pag may pondo, kung saan ilagay. Ngayon, we need to first ensure yung sustainability ng water source for both open water and groundwater. Kasi for this kind of projects, very important yung reliability and sustainability of water source. Kasi kung may iga lang din or kaya hindi makukuha yung desired discharge for the system, masasayang lang yung ano natin investment. So that's one of the no siguro ina-assure na muna yung dependability ng water.
Thank you very much. Other questions from the audience?
And then there are also a lot of improvements na sa mga components niya. Of course on the pumps, sa inverter at saka of course yung panel. Ang dami na rin na improvement. So we are adapting dun sa mga latest innovation and changes. And of course yung incorporation ng atin ng information technology dun sa mga system natin.
Sige. Thank you very much po, Asa. Other questions po from the audience? We have quite a wide range of people from all over. Andito po si Ramon Uy, Senior from RU Foundry, or si Dr. Bill from Negros. I think irrigation is also a major problem po in particular areas. Baka, I see Ramon has come online. Ramon, yes, please. Baka may tanong.
Yeah. Good morning, Asek, Arnel. Kumusta kayo?
Mabuti naman po, Sir Ramon. Magandang umaga po. Kumusta po?
I was thinking about the pump you're talking about, no? Kasi meron ngayong bagong design ng pump, yung waste pump. Kasi based on our experience, yung madumi yung tubig, medyo may magkakaroon ng problema yung pumps. So there is a new generation of pumps now that is coming out. Yung waste pump, no? Mismo kahit na madumi yung tubig, kaya iakyat, no? So I don't know if you consider that kind of pumps in your system, no? I agree with you that yung piping is very important, no? Kasi hindi nasasayang. Lahat ng installation namin halos yung previously, it's still running yung aming pinakamalaki namin na install yung sa Lianera, 45 horsepower yung namin na install. It's we pass through the tank, tapos from the tank, gravity na lang yung nag-deliver. May advantage din yung may tangke kaysa wala kasi kung minsan makastore ka sa gabi ng tubig, pwede pa rin magamit, no? Yun ang isang advantage. Anyway, congratulations, maganda yung programa mo. We're willing to be part of it if it's possible. We will support the program of the government. Thank you very much, Arnella. Magandang presentation.
Thank you po, Sir Ramon. Tama po yun. Very important yung component natin sa pump, especially for open water source. Na pag naghigop yun, may mga basura, madaling mabarahan. So, kailangan po talaga meron munang haharang doon sa basura bago. So, meron po tayo doon na tinatawag na parang, I forget the technical term. Baka matulungan po ako ni Doc Ray. So, and then, yun po, yung waste pumps, maganda rin po yun na mas makatulong. For groundwater naman po, hindi siya masyadong problema, lalo na kung maganda po yung pagkakadevelop ng well.
Tsaka, Asek, no? In line with the suggestion of Mr. Lantino, one way also of course, preserving yung water sa upland, no, is to plant more trees kung saan nagagaling yung Kasi itong nangyaring El Nino, malaking problema dahil wala na tayong kahoy. So yung mga upland ng mga tao, wala rin silang tubig. So maybe isama na rin natin yan siguro sa DNR na any water source that existing through gravity should be preserved by planting trees in the upper part of where the water source is coming from. So I don't know kung ma-incorporate natin yung sa program natin. Thank you very much.
Yes po, very important po yung watershed management kasi yung base recharge po natin ng mga groundwater source natin dyan po nanggagaling. So that's a very good observation po and recommendation na ma-encourage po natin lalo na yung mga bundok po natin na talagang kailangan mataniman para maging maayos po yung mga recharge natin.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. We have our next question from Richard Arsenio from Bigay Buhay. Richard, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, Julius. ASEC, I understand that I'm from the person with disability sector.
Yes, sir. Good morning po.
Good morning po. I understand na yung solar po ay isa sa mga alternative natin para sa rural development, agricultural rural development. At alam naman natin na isa sa mga challenges sa smart agriculture yung mataas na inputs sa energy. Kami po kasi sa person with disability sector and other vulnerable, ay nag-i-engage po kami sa mga indoor hydroponics. Medyo mataas po yung cost ng kuryente kung i-base namin magdidepende kami sa Meralco o yung mga conventional source of energy. Paano po kaya kami makakapag-engage sa inyo para mapasok namin yung solar as an alternative source of clean energy para masustain yung aming indoor hydroponics? Thank you po, ASEC.
Thank you po, Sir Richard. Actually po, yung priority focus ngayon ay yung ating po mga open field for solar irrigation. Pero may component din po tayo, lalo na po sa high value commercial crops, ng atin po na solar irrigation din. And if there's a need po to magkaroon ng ganitong solar component doon sa mga hydroponic system, open naman po kami. Yung ating pong na-experience ko nung regional director po ako sa Calabarzon, marami rin po kaming na-implement na mga solar irrigation project for high value. Though these are doon din po sa labas, not more so on greenhouses or for hydroponic system, but it can still be incorporated po. We will look into this. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
ASEC.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Julius.
No problem, Richard. I think somebody also was somebody had unmuted earlier before I called on Richard. Although hindi ko na nakita kung sino po yung hello. Or baka ano lang po. Okay. Sure po. Other questions po from the audience? Any questions po? Maybe I'll ask Ernie. Ernie, would you like to say a few things? Sorry, si
Yes,
Ray Lantin pala.
after Ray Lantin. After Ray Lantin. After Ray Lantin.
Yeah. Sige, Ray, please.
Yeah. Just a second thought about solar power. It could also be used for the upland. Upland, not only for irrigation or pumping water, but also for rice milling in the uplands. The farmers there are constrained into using mortar and pestle to pound the rice because it will be very expensive, strenuous for them to go to the lowlands, get the services of a rice mill. So they have to pound the rice upland. And we can use solar-powered impeller huller for their use to produce upland, what you call brown rice or unpolished rice, which is a healthy food for them. So that's one use of the solar panel in the uplands. Thank you.
Doc Ray, meron na rin po tayong mga maliliit na rice mills na pwede po nating i-distribute. Ano po lang po yung design nun sa kuryente. Pero pwede naman po natin gamitin din ng solar. Pwede po nating itap.
Yeah. One manufacturer in Talavera is already producing 25 kilos weight of the actual rice mill. So it is very portable. At my age, I can still carry that. so it can be put from one house to house if there is a portable solar panel also. and it only uses 250 watts. Just a small motor will do. DC motor, but that will be more expensive. But that is possible in the uplands for pounding rice, so that they will be very self-reliant in their food production and food consumption. Although in the uplands there will be extra production beyond our surplus of consumption, which they can gather income or generate income from by selling high value and tasty and safe brown rice from the uplands. These are tasty because these are traditional rice varieties. And for information of everybody, Erie has been helping farmers or in the way of producing seeds of traditional varieties. Last season, 2023 rainy season, some 5,700 traditional rice varieties all over the Philippines was planted in Mulanay, Quezon. And for the second planting last February, they had a field day last May 22, and 50 farmers, including those from the Cordilleras, attended. And from there, they will select the varieties that they want and multiply them. But these are for the uplands. And in Batangas, the Balayan people, also Malbar and other places in Nasugbu, which is now vacant because the sugarcane plantation is gone in Nasugbu, so they can plant upland rice there. But it will take 3 years because they are still multiplying the seeds. Thank you. That's for information.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, Robert, if you could reserve your question for the informal session kasi medyo malapit na po yung 9 o'clock. Ernie, would you like to say something before we close out the formal session?
Yeah, with 1 minute to go, I'd like to ask Arnel, in what ways we, the audience right now, can help? You did say that we could give suggestions, etc. One idea, of course, is that when you give the limited solar possibilities, you give priority to those with the highest ROI, and that's not rice, it's the high value crops. So 2 questions. First of all, can you distribute the solar systems that you give for free and prioritize it based on ROI, which means high value crops more than rice? And number 2, how else can we help propagate this very nice mission of yours? Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ernie. Of course, the focus of the irrigation system, especially for small scale, is for our farmers to diversify beyond rice and corn. And so our priorities are po talaga are those farmers that can also re-engage in production of high-value commercial crops. So you can trust po that they will also be our priorities for distribution. So these are free system that will be given out to our farmer cooperatives and associations. Kailangan lang po nila, of course, ay i-maintain at i-operate itong system. And there will be additional capacity building for them as program. And then ako po ang talagang i-request po namin kung may mga bagong innovations po that you can help us from your group. And of course, yung identification ng mga areas kasi napaka-importante po talaga yung ma-ensure natin yung magandang area. Of course, kung meron ng mga ongoing doon na system, and of course, yung monitoring po natin, napaka-importante po yun na masigurado na ito po ay talagang magagamit sa tamang paraan.
Salamat po. We will use our connections as well as the agriculture fishery councils for monitoring, and we give us suggestions, etc., especially as you said areas. Thank you very much, Arnel, for coming. Arnel, since you're going to Malacanang, no? How many more minutes can you give us? Because we're ending the formal session in 2 minutes, and then it's informal. How many minutes? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? How many more minutes can you give us during the informal session?
About max po 15 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Malapit na po ako sa vicinity ng Malacan.
Right, thank you. And good luck. Yeah, please argue for farmers, because some organizations, Associated Foundation, want more study. There were not enough hearings. As a matter of fact, I have a column on that. We want more hearings because the procedure was not followed. Having been the chairman of the Technical Committee on Tariff-Related Matters, we object to the fact that it was done without enough consultation. But having said that, please good luck on Malacanang. Okay, so Mr. President, you can close this and open it up for 5 or 10 minutes for the informal session.
Sure po. So ASEC Arnel, well, this part will not be uploaded, will not be included in the recording. I'll just say a few things to close out, because we upload this recording online to social media, so I have to say a few things to just end that one. But please don't go. We really do appreciate your time. And then we'll dive into the next session, the informal session, where we do the Q&A and the more fruitful discussion. So to say a few things, I'll give you your certificate of appreciation, our certificate of appreciation. I'll talk about the next session, and then also for a group photo, and then I'll say a few things to say goodbye to those who will be seeing this online po. But please do stay on, kahit na nag-goodbye na po ako dito. Is that okay po, ASEC?
Yes, Sir Julius, thank you very much.
Okay, and then yeah, I'll also just cheekily put in we've actually already set up several sites for small scale irrigation, especially dito sa mga mountains like sa Benguet. So actually, isang bibisitahin ko mamaya is here. I'm glad to hear that Robert has solar. Robert, I might need that from you. So baka ASEC, if you don't mind, my engineers might get in touch with your office to talk about, because we have existing sites na po for small irrigation na decentralized po. So baka that might be of interest. Okay. Sige po. So it's now a little past 9 o'clock. So thank you very much to ASEC Arnel de Mesa and to our audience for your very lively conversations. First, let's please give our certificate of appreciation to. All right. So the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, together with all of our members, our special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, corporate members, and individual members, all present the certificate of appreciation to Assistant Secretary Arnel V. Buesa for his invaluable support in the advocacy and promotion of agribusiness and countryside development, and for his commendable and unselfish services rendered to this foundation as our resource speaker. On our 15th weekly online meeting of 2024, given this 11th day of June 2024 in Makati City, Philippines. Signed, Ernie Ordonez as our chairman, and myself.